Have you noticed how the person who seems most desperate to marry you suddenly appeared right when you stopped chasing love? They're texting constantly, making plans, talking about forever. But here's what the angels want you to understand that will shatter everything you thought you knew about this connection. This isn't about romance at all. It's about divine repositioning, and the real reason for their urgency will either confirm you're exactly where God needs you or reveal a test you're about to fail. By the time you reach the end of this message, you'll know which one it is, and you'll understand why the angels are weeping over what's coming next. Welcome back to God's Message Today channel, where we deliver divine revelations that transform your spiritual journey. If this is your first time here, I want you to subscribe right now and turn on that notification bell, because what we're about to uncover today is not something you can afford to miss. The angels have been speaking, and their message about your current romantic situation carries an urgency that cannot be ignored. Right now, before we go any further, I need you to do something powerful. Type in the comments, "I receive," if you're ready to accept the truth the angels are bringing to you today. Type it with faith, type it with conviction, because your willingness to receive is the first step in understanding what's really happening in your life right now. The person pursuing you with such intensity didn't just randomly decide you were the one. The angels want you to know that their urgency is connected to something far deeper than attraction or even love. There's a spiritual clock ticking, and this person can sense it even if they can't articulate it. But here's where it gets profound, and this is where many believers miss the mark entirely. Their urgency isn't necessarily confirmation that they're your divine partner. Sometimes, their urgency is actually a mirror reflecting your own spiritual elevation back to you, and they're scrambling to lock you down before you realize your true worth. Think about what was happening in your life right before this person showed such intense interest. Were you finally healing from past wounds? Were you diving deeper into your prayer life? Were you discovering parts of yourself that had been buried under years of trying to please others? The Bible tells us in Proverbs 18 verse 12, "Before destruction the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility." You humbled yourself before God, you stopped demanding that love show up on your timeline, and suddenly this person appeared with wedding rings and forever promises. The angels are saying pay attention to the timing, because timing reveals motive. There's a difference between someone who wants to marry you because they recognize your God-given value and someone who wants to marry you because they sense you're about to become unavailable. One is rooted in genuine love and spiritual alignment. The other is rooted in fear and possession. The angels are urgent in their message to you because they see what you cannot see from your human vantage point. They see the future version of you, the one who has fully stepped into their divine purpose, and they're trying to help you discern whether this person can walk beside that version of you or whether they're actually trying to prevent that version from emerging. Matthew 6 verse 33 instructs us to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. When you finally started seeking God's kingdom first, when you finally stopped making romantic partnership your primary goal, something shifted in the spiritual realm. You became magnetic in a completely different way. You started radiating the kind of peace and purpose that draws people to you, but not everyone who is drawn to your light has good intentions. Some people are drawn to your light because they want to dim it just enough to make themselves feel brighter. The angels want you to prepare for tears, not because heartbreak is coming, but because the truth they're about to reveal will move you deeply. If this person pursuing you is genuinely sent by God, you're about to experience a love that heals generational wounds and creates a legacy of faith. If this person is not your divine assignment, you're about to experience the tears of grateful deliverance when you realize God protected you from a beautiful distraction that would have cost you your destiny. Either way, tears are coming, and they're part of your transformation. Here's what the angels are showing me that you need to understand. The hidden cause behind their urgency to marry you is connected to 3 possible spiritual realities, and you need to discern which one applies to your situation. The first possibility is that this person has been praying for someone exactly like you, and when God finally revealed you to them, they recognized you instantly in the spirit before they even fully knew you in the natural. Their urgency comes from a place of grateful recognition. They're not trying to trap you, they're trying to honor the answered prayer standing before them. They understand that when God sends you someone, you don't play games or waste time, you move with faith and intentionality. If you're wondering whether this is your situation, here are the signs. This person doesn't just want to marry you quickly, they want to know you deeply. They ask about your relationship with God. They're curious about your wounds and your healing journey. They don't try to rush physical intimacy even while expressing desire to commit permanently. They include God in conversations about your future together. They respect your need for prayer and discernment even while being clear about their intentions. Most importantly, their presence in your life makes you feel closer to God, not further away. Isaiah 43 verse 19 says, "Behold, I will do a new thing, now it shall spring forth, shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." If this person is your new thing from God, you will sense it in your spirit, and their urgency will feel like confirmation rather than pressure. But now I need to talk about the second possibility, and this is where the angels are literally weeping because so many believers are about to make a devastating mistake. The second reason someone might be urgent to marry you is because they can sense that you're becoming too strong, too whole, too confident in your identity in Christ, and they want to lock you into commitment before you realize you don't need them the way they need you. This isn't necessarily conscious manipulation on their part. Sometimes people themselves don't even realize why they're rushing. But the enemy knows that if you continue on your current path of healing and spiritual growth, you'll eventually see through the illusion, so he's using this person's genuine feelings for you as a tool to speed up commitment before clarity arrives. The signs of this scenario are subtle but critical. This person talks constantly about marriage in the future, but becomes uncomfortable or dismissive when you try to have deeper conversations about values, trauma, spiritual beliefs, or life goals. They want commitment, but they don't really want to do the work of truly knowing and being known. They love the version of you that makes them feel good, but they subtly criticize or withdraw when you display the full range of your humanity. They say they love your strength but make comments that undermine your confidence. They praise your faith but get irritated when you prioritize prayer or church over their desires. Most telling of all, their urgency increases whenever you pull back to seek God's guidance. If you saying, "I need to pray about this," makes them panic or pressure you more intensely, that's a red flag waving directly in your face. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14 warns us, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness?" This doesn't only apply to believers versus non-believers. It also applies to people who are at drastically different levels of spiritual maturity, emotional healing, and life purpose. You can both love Jesus and still be unequally yoked if one of you is committed to growth and the other is committed to comfort. Now let's talk about the third possibility. And this one is perhaps the most complex because it requires you to look at yourself with complete honesty. The third reason for their urgency might be that God is indeed sending you a spouse, but your own unhealed wounds and fear patterns are causing you to misinterpret their healthy pursuit as suspicious urgency. Sometimes the angels weep not because the wrong person is pursuing you, but because your trauma is about to cause you to reject the right person. If you've been hurt deeply in the past, if you've been abandoned or betrayed, your nervous system might be interpreting genuine love as a threat. Your mind might be creating narratives of danger where there is actually safety. The sign that this is your situation is that you feel a deep peace about this person when you're actually with them, but when you're alone, anxiety and doubt flood your mind. You feel connected and seen during conversations, but afterwards you start questioning everything and looking for problems. This person has been consistent, patient, and respectful, but you keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. You've prayed about this relationship and received confirmation, but you keep praying the same prayer over and over because you don't trust the answer you already received. Proverbs 3 verse 5 tells us, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." Sometimes the hidden cause isn't about them at all. Sometimes it's about you learning to trust God's goodness enough to receive the blessing He's trying to give you. Right now, I want you to pause and really sit with this question. Which of these three scenarios resonates most deeply with your spirit? And here's the critical part that the angels want you to understand. You cannot figure this out with your mind alone. Your mind will lie to you because it's been programmed by past pain. You cannot figure this out with your emotions alone because emotions are unreliable narrators that change based on circumstances. You can only discern truth through consistent time in God's presence, through wise counsel from spiritually mature people who actually know both you and this person, and through observing patterns over time rather than isolated moments. If you enjoyed this video so far, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It helps us reach more people who need to hear these divine messages. And make sure you're subscribed to God's Message Today channel because we're bringing you revelations that you won't find anywhere else. The angels are urgent in their message to you today because there's a window of time for divine decision-making, and that window doesn't stay open forever. God gives us seasons of clarity where He pulls back the veil and lets us see truth plainly, but those seasons require us to be paying attention and willing to act on what we see. If this person is your God-sent partner, delaying too long out of fear could mean missing the appointed time for your union. But if this person is not your divine assignment, saying yes too quickly out of loneliness or pressure could mean stepping out of alignment with your true purpose. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. There is a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. There is a time to speak and a time to keep silent." The angels are helping you recognize which time you're in right now, but you have to be spiritually sober enough to receive their guidance. This means getting brutally honest about what you're actually feeling versus what you think you should be feeling. This means being willing to walk away from someone you have feelings for if God says they're not the one. This means being willing to move forward with someone even if you're scared if God confirms they are the one. Let me tell you what the angels showed me about the tears that are coming. If you're in scenario 1, where this person is genuinely your divine partner and their urgency comes from spiritual recognition, you're going to cry tears of overwhelming gratitude when you realize that God loved you enough to send someone who sees you the way He sees you. You're going to cry when you understand that all the waiting, all the healing, all the nights you spent alone working on yourself led to this moment where you're finally ready to receive the love you've always deserved. You're going to cry at your wedding, not just because weddings are emotional, but because you'll finally understand that God's timing was perfect even when it felt painfully slow. If you're in scenario 2, where this person's urgency is actually a red flag that you've been ignoring, you're going to cry tears of relief when you finally give yourself permission to walk away. You're going to cry when you realize how close you came to settling for a counterfeit version of the love God has for you. You're going to cry when you understand that saying no to the wrong person is actually saying yes to your destiny. And eventually, when God does send your true partner, you're going to cry tears of gratitude that He loved you enough to protect you from making a life-altering mistake. If you're in scenario 3, where your trauma is causing you to sabotage a genuine blessing, you're going to cry tears of healing when you finally let your walls down and allow yourself to be loved. You're going to cry when you realize that not everyone is like the people who hurt you. You're going to cry when this person sees you at your worst, in your full broken humanity, and chooses to stay anyway. You're going to cry when you finally believe that you're worthy of the kind of love that doesn't punish you for having needs or make you earn affection through perfection. Psalm 37 verse 4 says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart." But notice it doesn't say He'll give you the desires of your heart on your timeline or in the package you expected. Sometimes God's gifts come wrapped in urgency because He knows that if the gift arrived slowly, you'd talk yourself out of receiving it. Sometimes God's protection comes wrapped in red flags because He knows that if He told you plainly to leave, you'd argue with Him and try to fix what He's asking you to release. The hidden cause behind their urgency to marry you is ultimately about this. God is moving in your life right now, and movement requires decision. Stagnation is comfortable. Confusion is comfortable because it gives you an excuse to do nothing. But movement, real spiritual movement, demands that you trust God enough to act on what He's showing you even when you don't have every answer. The person pursuing you is creating a moment of decision, and that moment is a gift even if it feels like pressure. Here's what I need you to understand about divine timing and human urgency. When God sends you a spouse, there will be a sense of rightness that supersedes the speed of the relationship. Fast doesn't automatically mean wrong, and slow doesn't automatically mean right. What matters is alignment. What matters is whether this person draws you closer to God or further away. What matters is whether your spirit is at peace or constantly troubled when you think about forever with this person. 1 John 4 verse 1 tells us, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world." This applies to relationships too. Try the spirit of this connection. Does it bear the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control? Or does it bear the fruit of the flesh, anxiety, jealousy, manipulation, control, and compromise? The angels are preparing you for tears because transformation is never tidy. Whether these tears come from joy or relief, from healing or release, they're part of your journey toward wholeness. God doesn't waste pain, and He doesn't waste delay. Every single thing you've experienced has been preparing you for this moment of decision. The question is not whether this person loves you. The question is whether this person is part of God's plan for your life. Those are two completely different questions, and confusing them is how believers end up in marriages that feel more like mission fields than partnerships. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 is often quoted but rarely understood in its full depth. "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." God's thoughts toward you are thoughts of peace. If this relationship is constantly making you feel anxious, uncertain, or like you have to shrink yourself to keep the peace, that's not alignment with God's thoughts toward you. God's plans give you an expected end, meaning there's purpose and direction, not just emotion and chaos. If this person cannot articulate a vision for your life together that includes God at the center and purpose beyond personal happiness, that should give you pause. The angels want you to know that you don't have to have all the answers right now, but you do need to commit to the process of seeking those answers with integrity. This means creating space between you and this person so you can hear God clearly without their influence clouding your discernment. This means being willing to ask hard questions even if the answers might disappoint you. This means valuing your peace more than you value being chosen. Because here's the secret that will change everything: the right person for you will enhance your peace, not threaten it. The right person will make you feel more like yourself, not less. The right person will celebrate your connection to God, not compete with it. Romans 8 verse 28 promises that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. All things, that includes the relationships that didn't work out. That includes the time you spent single and healing. That includes this current moment of decision where you're trying to figure out if their urgency is a blessing or a warning. God is working it all together for your good, which means you can trust the process even when you can't see the outcome. I want you to comment, blessed and ready, right now if you're committed to following God's guidance in this situation no matter what he reveals. Comment it as a declaration that you're more interested in his will than your own way. Comment it as a commitment to trust him even if the answer isn't what you hoped for. Here's the final piece that the angels want you to understand, and this is the part that will either set you free or convict you deeply. The urgency you're feeling from this person might actually be a mirror of the urgency God has been feeling toward you. God has been urgently trying to get your attention, urgently trying to heal your wounds, urgently trying to elevate you to your next level, and you've been distracted, resistant, or half-committed. Now someone shows up with human urgency about marriage, and suddenly you're fully engaged, fully present, fully willing to seek God for answers. The angels are weeping because sometimes it takes human desire to wake us up to divine intention. What if this whole situation, regardless of whether this person is the one or not, is actually about God getting you to finally pay attention to your spiritual life with the intensity it deserves? What if the hidden cause behind their urgency is that God is using their pursuit to reveal where you're at spiritually, what you truly value, and whether you're finally ready to put him first in every decision? Psalm 118 verse 8 says, "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." Have you been putting more confidence in this person's promises than in God's faithfulness? Have you been more concerned about whether they'll stay than whether you're staying aligned with your purpose? The tears that are coming will cleanse you. They'll wash away illusion and leave truth in its place. They'll break open the parts of your heart that you've kept protected for so long. They'll release the grief you've been holding about past relationships or the fear you've been carrying about future ones. These tears are necessary. They're holy. They're part of how God does his deepest work in us. So don't fight them when they come. Let them flow. Let them teach you. Let them reveal what's been hidden in your heart. The angels are saying that within the next few weeks, you're going to have a moment of absolute clarity about this situation. Something will happen, something will be said, or something will shift in your spirit, and you'll just know. You'll know whether to move forward or step back. You'll know whether their urgency is divine confirmation or spiritual warning. But you have to stay close to God during this time. You can't afford to let distractions, busyness, or other people's opinions drown out the voice of the Holy Spirit. He's speaking. The question is whether you're listening. This is the moment right here, right now, where your life could go in two completely different directions. One direction leads to a marriage that fulfills purpose and builds kingdom legacy. The other direction leads to a lesson you'll have to learn the hard way. The angels cannot make the choice for you. God will not force your hand, but they can illuminate the path, and they're doing that right now through this message. Their urgency to get this information to you matches the urgency of the decision you're facing. Everything is connected, nothing is random. You were meant to hear this today. So here's what you do next. You create a time of consecration. You set aside specific days where you're fasting, praying, and seeking God's face about this relationship. You invite him into every thought, every fear, every hope. You ask him to reveal anything you need to see, even if it hurts. You ask him to close doors that need to be closed and open doors that need to be opened. And then this is crucial, you trust what he shows you even if it contradicts what you want. The hidden cause behind their urgency has now been revealed to you in three possible forms. The Spirit of God within you already knows which one is true for your situation. Stop overthinking. Stop polling your friends. Stop creating pros and cons lists. Get alone with God and ask him directly. He will answer. He promises in James 1 verse 5 that if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. God is not playing games with your heart. He's not being vague to test you. He will give you the wisdom you need if you genuinely ask and are willing to receive the answer. The urgency, the tears, the decision, it's all part of your divine story. Years from now, you'll look back at this moment and understand why it had to happen exactly this way. You'll see how God was positioning you, protecting you, and preparing you for what was coming next. You'll be grateful for the urgency because it forced you to grow up spiritually and make decisions like the mature believer you're becoming. You'll be grateful for the tears because they marked the moment you finally surrendered control and trusted God completely. Listen, the angels have delivered their message. They've revealed the hidden cause. They've warned you, encouraged you, and equipped you with the spiritual discernment you need to navigate this season. Now it's time for you to act on what you've received. God's grace is sufficient, his timing is perfect, and his plans for you are good. Whether this person is your spouse or your lesson, God is going to use this situation for your ultimate good and His ultimate glory. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with the friend who's in a similar situation, confused about whether to say yes or walk away. Share it with the family member who keeps asking when you're getting married so they can understand the spiritual weight of what you're navigating right now. And come back to this channel for more messages like this one, because God is not done speaking to you. Click that notification bell so you never miss when we post a new video with the divine revelations you need for your journey. For those of you who have been blessed by what we do here, who feel led to support this ministry, we invite you to give a super thanks as a token of appreciation. Your donations help us continue bringing these messages to people all over the world who are hungry for truth. We don't take your support for granted, and we're grateful for every single person who partners with us in this work. Remember this, their urgency revealed God's intentions. Your tears will water the seeds of your next season. And no matter what happens with this relationship, you are deeply loved, divinely guided, and destined for more than you can imagine. Trust the process. Trust the God who holds your future, and trust that the best is yet to come. May the peace of God guard your heart and mind. May His wisdom guide your decisions. And may His perfect love cast out every fear that's trying to cloud your discernment. You're going to be just fine. Actually, you're going to be better than fine. You're going to be exactly where you're supposed to be, walking in purpose, covered in grace, and surrounded by the kind of love that only God can orchestrate. Go in peace, beloved. The angels are with you, God is for you, and your story is far from over.